I was an addict. I saw red. I got angry. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Hey yo, what's wrong with you two, gang? It's your boy CJ. And today, I'm about to tell you guys how I became addicted to painkillers. Not just any painkiller. I'm talking about that ooh-wee, that oh my god, I'm hooked. Or for one hit, fentanyl. Yeah, you heard me. I became addicted to that shit while I was in the hospital. But that's enough talking. Let's get into it. You see, first, you gotta understand, before all of this happened, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, man, I didn't even take Advil for a headache. I was drug free. But once someone tried to unalive me and I was in that hospital, all of that went right out the window. You see, I got shot in my neck. Yeah, you heard me right, my neck. Damn! And ever since that day I got shot, I've been in excruciating pain. So in order for the doctors to keep me comfortable while I was in the hospital, they had to give me something strong. And if you know anything about fentanyl, that's that stuff that took Prince out of here. Man, that's one hell of a drug. It's to the point where I heard fentanyl is so strong that even if you whiff one little bit of it, you'll get high and hooked. Yeah, and let me tell you from experience, it had me hooked. So while I was in the hospital, every 4 hours, I was getting a dose of like clockwork. I mean, as soon as I said I was in pain, they were coming in there and shooting me right up. It got to the point where I wasn't feeling pain at all. Like I forgot I even had a body at one point.
How, Sway?
That's how high I was on. Man, I can even remember the first day that the nurse gave it to me. She came up to me, asked me what my pain level was. I looked at her and gave her a simple number. All I said was 7. She said, okay, would you like some painkillers? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? I ain't doing anything. Might as well take some painkillers and ease my pain. Man, I'm telling you, when she gave me that stuff, it was like a feeling I never felt before. So understand this. I couldn't take pills because I had tubes down my throat. So in order to get they had to inject me with it through my arm. Now the first shot they gave me, whew, it blew my mind. As she pushed the medicine into my arm, I could feel it creep up my arm real slow. And then it goes down to your stomach and it makes your stomach start to burn. And then your heart starts to race really, really fast. And then if it's really quiet, you just feel yourself drift off to another world. It's like nothing I ever felt in my life. I used to call it chasing the dragon. Man, this dragon was wild. This dragon was crazy. This dragon was on another level because it had me higher than any plane ever soared. Now understand, after I fell asleep from this drug, I was knocked out for exactly 3.5 hours. And the first thing out of my mouth was, I'm in pain. I wasn't in pain, but I was just hooked. One shot and I was hooked. I would look at whatever family member that was visiting me and try to get their attention just to let them know I was in pain and I needed that juice. I used to just groan and moan like, Look at this. Somebody come look at this. So they would look at me and be like, are you okay? Do you need the nurse? As soon as they said that, I knew the dragon was close behind because I would just nod my head, then the nurse would come and be like, are you in pain? She always start off with 5 and I would shake my head. Then 6, shake my head. Then 7.
No, God, please, no, no!
It wasn't until she got up to 8, 9 that I would nod my head and say, yeah, that's where it's at, so I could ensure that I got the dragon. Now I told you guys, every 3.5 hours, I was waking up like clockwork after I got the first dose of medicine. But I couldn't receive the next one until after 4 hours. So I would moan and groan and try to get them to give it to me early. And that's when they would always have to go ask the doctor if I could receive it early. Sometimes they would make me wait the extra half hour just to get the medicine. And trust me, that half hour seemed like an eternity when you're trying to get your fix. This had to go on for about 4 to 5 days of me receiving this stuff like clockwork until the doctor looked at me and was like, you know what? We could give you an IV drip of Wait, I could get a constant dose? But by now, I was an addict. And that IV drip didn't do anything, man. I remember the first day they gave it to me. It's dripping into my arm. I'm expecting to chase the dragon all day. Nope, that's not what happened. All it did was take the little bit of pain that I did have away. So you know what I had to do? I had to start complaining so I could get some more of that good stuff. I had to be like, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. But in actuality, it sounded kind of like,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, because I still had tubes down my throat. But for some reason, the doctor understood what I was saying. And on top of getting the IV drip, I was back to getting my dose every 4 hours. Man, I was higher than high. And to be honest, the main reason why I became addicted to this stuff is because it used to put me to sleep. And in my mind, if I slept through my injury, I could just wake up one day and be able to move. Yeah, not the smartest idea, but at the time, it seemed like a great idea.
Nope.
And I remember even getting mad at my mom's because the nurse would administer the medicine to me and she would stand at the foot of the bed and start asking the nurses questions. And like I said, if it's really quiet, I could fall asleep. But at that time, she's talking, so I couldn't fall asleep. So she was blowing my high. I remember laying there upset like, oh my God, just leave, just leave.
How dare you?
So I could just fall asleep. This whole thing went on for about 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm sorry for the time frame because everything from that time is one big blur. In my head, it seemed like it was only 1 week. But talking to my family, they told me it was a lot longer than what I thought. But after 2 or 3 weeks of going through this, it came time for me to be transferred to another floor. Because at this point, I worked my way off of being on a ventilator. And I'll tell you about that in another story. Man, was that hard. So at this point, I still couldn't talk, but I could mouth out what I wanted. So as they're getting me ready to get transferred to the next floor, the doctor's standing at the edge of the bed talking to my mother. And I'll never forget this lady. Because at this point,
this lady became my worst enemy.
Doctor's explaining what's going on in my body and everything that's happening and what's the next step. And I looked at her as she made eye contact with me and I mouthed out the words, yeah. She looked at me and was like,
well, I don't think you need any more. You could probably take Advil.
Who the f*** you think you talking to?
That's when everything went to hell. I saw red. I got angry. If it was up to me, I would have climbed out that bed and jumped up and down and screamed, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
But I couldn't. All I could do was shake my head back and forth and mouth out the words, just one more time, just one more time, just give it to me one more time. That's when the doctor looked at my mother and said,
we gotta wean him off. I think he's addicted.
And that had to be the worst day of my entire life while I was in the hospital because I was hooked. I was hooked bad. There's nothing you could say or do that could tell me otherwise. My mother and my girlfriend tried to calm me down, but I wasn't hearing none of that because I was hooked. That's when I came up with a master plan. Well, it seemed like a master plan in my head because I was addicted to this shit and I didn't know anything. So the plan was when they take me to the next floor, the next nurse is not gonna know I'm not supposed to have.
You're so dumb.
So I'ma just ask her for it. So you know what? I calmed down. I played it cool. I was like, okay, I got it. No more no problem. Man, they took me to the next floor. First thing I said to that nurse was, I'm in pain. This lady looked at me and said,
I see it in your chart that you can't have any more. Would you like some Tylenol or Advil?
no, miss. I want the good stuff. So I shook my head, no, and mouthed out, can I get some? That's when she's gonna say, no, you can't have any. I swear, I felt like a little kid whose mother told him he can't have any snack after dinner. Now shaking cold turkey is not easy. But what can I do? I'm paralyzed and I can't talk. So I just had to take it. Man, I swear, I was craving it day in and day out for about 3 days. But I tell you, I understand people that are addicted badly to this stuff because to this day, right now, As I speak to you, I still have cravings for it. Just the thought of it makes me crave it. So if anyone out there who's watching this, who's addicted to this stuff, please get help. Because I understand your pain. This stuff is no joke. Now being addicted to fentanyl, yeah, that's crazy. But it got nothing on the first time that I tried edibles when I first came home to try to relieve my pain. Man, I tell you, that joint took me on a ride. But come back next week and I'll let you know what happened. Let's just say I cried for my mama. Mama! Where are you going? And you better not say, I don't know. And if that's your answer, then this is your wake-up call. It's time to open your eyes and get on the right path and figure it out. Because you know what? You're falling behind. So get up and get going.